I am Babu Nair and I am the founder and publisher of Banking Frontiers magazine, which I started in 2002. So I have been taking quite a lot of interest in trying to understand what is happening in this sector and try to see how we can empower the banks with more and more information, knowledge, and networking opportunities to share their thoughts and help them to take them forward in the journey. May I start from Amol?
My name is Amol Pai. I am here with State Bank of India as the Chief Technology Officer. My responsibility includes infrastructure for the bank, which is networks, data centers, and the cloud services. And I also take care of the flagship application for the bank, which is YONO.
Thank you. Welcome, Amol.
Yeah, hi, good evening. So I'm Praveen Sharma from Union Bank of India. So I'm General Manager IT.
Now I am heading the internal audit function from Ahmedabad zone. Before
Okay.
that, I headed number 2 of Hyderabad zone in operations, and before that, I headed IT audit of Bank of Baroda. So I am having IT audit knowledge, then operations and internal audit and internal controls. And our bank is 1 year, 1.5 years so far experience of this merger, three-way merger. Government of India started with Bank of Baroda, the three-way merger, subsequent to State Bank Associates merger with State Bank of India.
My name is Prasanna Ranade. I manage the BFSI patch for Dell Technologies. Been with Dell for close to 12 years. I was actually erstwhile EMC, which got merged with Dell. So we have also gone through this merger for last 4 years. Disparate systems coming together, whole lot of experiences, new things to learn. So that's what we have.
Very happy to be part of this conversation. I was the CISO of Syndicate Bank. Right now from April 1st, Syndicate Bank was merged to Canara Bank. Now I am working for Canara Bank. So I look after all the CISO functions, governance, risk and compliance, as well as manage the security operations center. So basically, even though the merger happened, the real merger is yet to happen. So both units are functioning, unit 1 and unit 2. We are in the middle of the merger. So it is a pertinent conversation that we are going to do the problems we face and all. Thank you.
What we have seen anyways a lot of change in this entire last few months. On one side, there was announcement of merger and amalgamation, and every bank has got into their heels, especially when it comes to preparing themselves for the process. How has been the experience so far? How have you been, managing this entire process of getting into the amalgamation? Of course, you are at different points of the journey right now. And to top of it, you also had to work on the pandemic. So let us first start from the merger side. How has the journey been so far?
So, merger, as you have told that we have engaged and yet to be get fully married. So that is the stage which we are, and till now it is smooth, and IT is yet to be go ahead. So there are a lot of preparations which we require, and our friend from Bank of Baroda is already he was we are 2 years since amalgamation, and IT is happening now in Bank of Baroda, if I'm not wrong. So IT integration is a real IT integration with Mr. Mallikarjun was also saying that the real integration is yet to happen in all the public sector banks who are having an amalgamation. But till now, whatever the amalgamation journey, it is a really interesting journey, and we already have achieved a lot. So from the HR perspective, from the the rationalization of the regional offices, rationalization of all administrative offices, reorg of the corporate verticals. So all such things has already done, and now we are good to go in IT. So and that is revealing good results in our bank, because a lot of activities has been done, and it is very well planned by entire management group. So that is happening at till the ground level. So a lot of regional offices has been rationalized. Even field general offices has been rationalized based on the business, based on the geography where we are having a higher number of branches. So currently it is at the very niche stage. So discussions are on that how this can be taken, because IT it is not only the upgradation. So if you see the Union Bank and the other two banks, so other two banks are on Finacle, but no, Andhra Bank is on. So Union Bank is also on Finacle 10, but when we operations in Finacle itself, so the lot of studies is going on, and all the service provider has been onboarded to understand that what are the states they are, and how the real core can be migrated. But it is not only related to the core. See, when we talk about IT, IT is not only related to the core banking. So core banking is a one piece in IT now. It is, though it is in the heart of the IT, but the main crux comes when you talk about the channels, because that is the area which is much more importance, and entire risk also comes from there. So if any small issue in the channel, it can boomerang in terms of the risk, in terms of the customer issues and all. So we have gone through each application from the IT perspective, from the customer satisfaction perspective, in all the three banks, and then we have finalized that which model, which functionalities will be there in the amalgamated entity, and then work has been started on that. So all vendors has to be on board. Some are being selected through some RFP processes, some are being selected through negotiations perspective. So those things, some has been done, some are in progress. So that is the state which bank is as on date. But yes, we have already finalized the functionality perspective from the technology, so that development has been started. It may take some time.
Mr. Satyanarayana, how is the state in Bank of Baroda? I think you are in a little much mature stage compared to most of the other banks, because you have started the activity quite early.
I want to share certain HR related issues also. Actually, in Bank of Baroda, the migration started with the town hall meetings. Senior leadership of the three banks were met prior to the merger itself. There were 3-4 rounds of senior management meetings, and also product rationalization has taken place prior to merger. Out of the three banks, the best the products that are having maximum customer patronage, they were selected, and the products that with less patronage, they were hived off. Similarly, service charges, whatever out of the three, which bank is charging the minimum charges, that kind of a thing has taken board, means giving maximum benefit to the customer. And also for integration of HR, human resources, bank has started a buddy scheme or something, where the other two entities, they were provided with one anchor from the merged entity, that the parent Bank of Baroda, so that the handholding of the branches taken place. And HR integration, like I shared with you earlier also during an informal meeting, like I headed as the number 2 of the zonal office of Hyderabad, Andhra Pradesh zone, where the zonal head comes from Dana Bank, eDana, and the other functionary is from eVijaya. So HR integration at every unit, the three banks were, so that they were taken care. In fact, in promotions also, recent promotions also, the other two banks were given sufficient weightage, and in fact they got, other two banks got the advantage of being selected for overseas assignment. So HR rationalization has taken place, and product rationalization has taken place, and employee benefits and all I want to tell, because my colleague, he will be telling more on IT. Out of the three banks, which bank offers the best emoluments and all those kind of things, for other two banks got on par with all the perks and privileges of Bank of Baroda. That has taken place. So human was taken care properly, and these products were taken care properly, and the customers were given service charges and all. But IT integration is midway through. So initially, eVijaya and eDana both are on Finacle 7, only Bank of Baroda on Finacle 10. So eVijaya is being migrated to Finacle 10 now. 50% of eVijaya branches were migrated to Finacle 10. As far as large corporates are concerned, they were merged, CFS branches were merged with Bank of Baroda. There's no eVijaya CFS branch, or large corporates were migrated into Bank of Baroda fold. 25% of the balance sheet was already integrated that the bank claims. And technology is concerned, eDana still a part. In Finacle 7 they are working. Vijaya so far they are working on Finacle 7. 50% of Vijaya Bank branches were migrated to Finacle 10 and they are operating. Challenges are coming. Even Bank of Baroda faced a lot of challenges. I am as a information system auditor, I am aware when we were migrated ourselves from Finacle 7 to Finacle 10. Lot of issues. Bank of Baroda alone faced it. So now bank is facing the challenges. Each ATM channels, they are migrating into one ATM channels. As far as retail front is concerned, the loan automation process and all, they were migrated. Now both other banks, all the two banks, they use the same loan lending process. That is a separate, it's not the core, it's a separate loan automation that all the three banks are using that one. Then we are having back offices. We discussed with you, trade finance back office at Gandhinagar. Bank of Baroda already centralized its operations, trade finance operations, but still Dana Bank has to come to this platform. The customer perspective is customer is getting one of the best possible rates and all.
We will come back to the customer perspective later. We have covered the HR, we have covered a little bit about the technology perspective as well. Let us also learn from Syndicate Bank. I think Atul was also supposed to join, but Mr. Mallikarjun Rao, how has the migration happened so far? And second, one more thing is from the information security perspective also, I think Syndicate will have a different information security setup, and Canara has a different security setup. So how are you managing this transition now?
Actually, whatever Union Bank has gone through so far, whatever Bank of Baroda has gone through so far, same thing. I will divide these things into people, process, technology. So Mr. Satyanarayana has talked about people also. Technology, Praveen sir has spoken about. So what we did at Canara Syndicate amalgamation is we started with process. That means what we did was we have taken all the policies. First we started with policies from two banks. Luckily for Syndicate and Canara, both the banks are from South base, and the platform is also same. We both the banks use FlexCube only. So there some leverage is there. We started with the policies. Each and every policy, each and every functional department, lot of functional, around 30-40 functional departments are there. So each department normally is having a policy of its own. So the best of the two was taken into consideration. Then both the banks understood the process. So then as happened in Andhra Union and wherever it is, then they came based on these policies. For example, credit risk policy is there, credit policy is there, sanctioning policies are there. So policy again goes into procedure also. So they can come to operationally what is happening. So they will get an idea. Then the best of the lot, as is happening in other banks, best of the lot to facilitate the customer, to facilitate the employee also. Employee, in the case of employee allowances and everything, perquisites, whatever it is. And in the case of customer, not to penalize the other bank, the best, that the cheapest one was taken into consideration. Then this is the process. They understood the process. Lot of amalgamation committees were formed. Then they had a very a number of discussions and meetings. Then it ended and it was merged. So this is the process. People also, I don't spend much time on people. People is employees. Then employees are taken care. The best of the thing was given to them, whatever it is, even rents and all. Because why I am telling is culture is very important. Cultural integration, people integration. If it does not happen, amalgamation would not be smooth. People should not feel that it is going against them. When best of the thing is taken into consideration, people also feel that they are happy. Yeah, they feel that a syndicate bank is having good allowance here. Yes, we can also have that privilege of having that. Similarly, in Canara, if any good allowance is there, good perquisite is there, that is transferred and given to the syndicate bank employees also. Then they also felt good. This is people, process, and technology is the main thing. Actually, what happens is now with this all CBS and core banking, I will just go to some historical perspective, because in banking industry in 90s, this actually computerization started with ALPMs. ALPMs later on in mid 95s or somewhere, ALPM is standalone machines.
Correct.
That means data exists in silos. That means term deposit ALPM would not speak to loans ALPM. Loans ALPM customer is not having any relevance or ID or his record in SB ALPM, Savings Bank ALPM. So banks, what they thought in 95 or so, they actually migrated these ALPMs into TBMs. That is a branch mechanization. That means a CBS inside a branch. That is LAN network, local area network. So it is a branch level existence of unification of data, customer data. That means within the branch, customer will have a single unique ID, that is customer ID. And
if I may just try to this thing, while from the history, we will just come to the current situation right now.
yeah, I'll come. I don't spend much on that. So what happened was, why I am telling is, why I am making this point is, then from mechanization to, we went to core banking. Core banking is the bank as a whole. That means we have an experience of banks, particularly PSU banks, have an experience of these things. Amalgamation within the bank, amalgamation within the branch. Now amalgamation between two banks. So technology, though we are having a lot of challenges, my point is we are experienced, we are skilled, and now a lot of technologies are also available to make it happen. So amalgamation is nothing but amalgamation of database. Simple. Unless I say the customer see his account in Canara Bank, he would not. We cannot say that it is amalgamated. So for that to happen, it is taking time. That's all. Now we are going in an order. We have already measured some ATM switch level integration is happening. So once it happens, then the delivery channels will be done. Then slowly it will percolate, and March is our what is the timeline set.
Now we have already learned how you all got engaged and are proceeding towards your marriage. So that was a very good experience. And in between, there is a tragedy that came into picture in the story. That is your pandemic. And that has forced all of us to rethink the way we work and rethink the way we are planning to go ahead. And I am sure one of the guys who must have been in the center of action here and who has got the largest number of branches, largest number of people working in the organization is here. I can see that smile in Amol's face and I can imagine what he has gone through. So Amol, how have you been managing this entire shift into the work culture and work from anywhere, work from home? Very interesting stories I have heard about SBI, but I want to learn more from you.
Correct. So I am definitely missing out the excitement that the other banks are going through in terms of the merger. But trust me that the pandemic has been much more exciting period for on the technology front. Right. See, the struggle is not about enabling a technology for anyone. The struggle is about how do you use it and how do you ensure that it continues to function the way you want it to function. So, I mean, when the pandemic struck, it was obviously a question that it was anyone's guess. What will happen tomorrow? What will happen after 21 days? And then the lockdowns were getting stretched in phases. It wasn't told that you are going to face this for the next 6 months, right? There was always 21 days followed by 7 days, then 15 days. So largely plans were being made in such a situation that we said that, okay, let's get past these first 20 days and then maybe we'll get more clarity. But obviously nobody got the clarity after those 21 days also. So at SBI, the first thing that we did is that we focused on ensuring that the lights always stay on. Okay, I mean that was the first line of attack because in this entire pandemic, along with the police services, the essential services, banking was also treated as an essential service. So my branch always had to function. My technology always had to be on. So this is the first line of attack that we took. And while we set up the policies of work from home and all, we ensured that physical contact was limited between team members so that the spread doesn't happen between in a single team. So we broke down our team into team A, team B, team C. We moved them to 3 different locations, and they were strictly told that you are not going to mix with each other. And while they started working from 3 different locations and at 3 different places, 3 different teams, we put in the work from home infrastructure and the work from home policies so that people need not even come to those site A, site B, and site B. They can continue to work from any place. So first line of attack was get to split the teams, take them into 3 different teams and locations. After that, what we did is we enabled them to work from home. But the frontline workers, which would be the production support guys, they were the first ones to be enabled on the work from home so that business doesn't stop at any point in time. And after that, we started enabling the Chain the Bank related team. That is the enhancements which had to come in. Obviously, people were scared, so the Chain the Bank team was running very thin. But now again, it has picked up. So this has been a learning phase for us. So technology per se was always there. Technology, work from home technology is not new, but how to put it in place, where to use it, that has been one of the most experiential learnings that all of us have been through here in SBI.
Great. It is like, you have the fire equipments installed in your building, but have
Correct.
never used it.
Yes, it has always been a drill.
Attended a fire drill. I remember the secretary of my society always writing a mail, members, please join us for the fire drill. No one of us bother. Till one day a fire would happen and then you would run helter skelter.
Yeah. So incidentally, I mean, to your point, I mean, most of the multinational companies and private sector banks, they had a work from home policy. Okay. But that was by exception. It was not a norm. All of them have gone through that process. I mean, they have also learned that what does it take for a person to sit at home and work for the company. Yeah.
Fantastic. I have been doing a lot
Actually, I just want to come in on the Atul's point. See, it is not only the policy or the infrastructure to be there. I found a little more challenging from the HR perspective once we implement that. Once we go through the work from home. Once he is in office, I know that how much he is delivering. But once he is at home, whosoever how much he has completed. So really take a stock of that. That is a little more challenging environment. Okay, we have given the infrastructure, we have given the facility, policies are in place for work from home. But how much you are delivering? So the measurement and of that is a little more challenging than creating the infrastructure, giving all the facilities and all. So I feel that is one more critical area from the WFH.
From the public sector bank, there is one more very interesting thing. Probably you must have tried also. I think infrastructure wise, many people have challenged that my home does not have the right bandwidth, does not have the right infrastructure and all. But next to my home, I have a very good branch of Union Bank of India or a State Bank of India. I just go there and use the lease line there and do the connectivity. I may be able to do much faster work than probably work from home. Since I am a banker, it can be a possibility also. So it can be work from anywhere. Why only work from home?
No, so right actually. So this facility earlier also we were using, and this was mainly was used for the service providers. So if I take an example, a critical person from Infosys is sitting in a corner of his home, and one fine day we need him. So, but he says, no, I cannot travel XYZ reasons. Okay, please reach to my nearest branch and do the job from there. So that facility is already, was there, and definitely yes, that has been used in this pandemic situation as well. So certain branches, which was advised to take off such facilities and allow even the own administrators. So sometimes we need to put our own people. So from some IT critical asset, no human resource was there in some of the and got locked down. Now he cannot travel, but we need his services. So such facilities has to be enabled. So that is yes, that is definitely it is helping actually.
Bank of Baroda, we are having huge number of resources in Gandhinagar, the back offices. They have migrated to Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad. They could not come back. So they were allowed, hundreds of people, they were allowed to operate from either Bangalore or Hyderabad or other units. This was happened in Bank of Baroda in a large scale. And earlier also, in curfew and all, when any antisocial things happened, some parts of cities like Hyderabad and all, they used to be affected by curfew. So the employees used to be asked to operate from the nearest branches and all. Like as rightly said by you, in public sector banks, because we are having huge number of branches, physically working from other units are also happening. In fact, employee evaluations and all, while we are on leave also, we have to do in the same branch environment only. So we to go to the nearest branch and we to do from the nearest branch. Earlier also, we are having some experience of any exigency, like my senior colleague told, asking the Infosys guy to operate from the nearest branch. Public sector banks are blessed with that opportunity, and Amol is having everywhere pan India,
Fantastic.
pan global presence.
Excellent. Prasanna,
Yeah,
so what is your experience now
yeah. I mean,
when
I
it comes
fully,
to
I'm fully in line with what everybody has stated. Simple things like, although for Dell, policy has always been work from home, right? But work from home for such a long time is a different scenario. Simple things like my laptop, for example, it is meant to be working in a specific environment like ACs and all. If you, I mean, nobody is going to use AC for 24 hours at home, right? So small things, but it matter. but but the thing which has helped us is in terms of most of our applications, whatever applications I use personally for any of the things which I'm doing is all cloud enabled. Everything is cloud based. It is, we are using extensively our own technologies from VMware and all. So this has helped us a lot. So even if I am not using my laptop, I can do a whole lot of things through my mobile. All my applications are on my mobile. So that gives me that flexibility to work from anywhere and from any device. So that has enabled us. But yes, the scenario is different. The work hours have gone up drastically. I don't know at what time I start and at what time I close. So, and it is a different experience. It's a lifetime experience. Nobody has experienced this in their lifetime. So it's a different scenario. But yeah, so as I mentioned, we have coped up pretty well. Probably, yesterday, in our internal this thing, we have something called as digital approved. So our internal IT team presented to us in terms of how they have managed this. Probably, sometime later, I would like to show it to you how we have managed it. Uh, Certain things, certain areas, how we have, the scale. Everybody has moved mobile, so how we can do it. So we have done it. We have managed it well on the infra side. So that's where we are.
how easy or difficult has been to amalgamate these technologies, and how do you at the same time keep things smooth on the top where when all these amalgamations happen, how are people managing this amalgamation? Praveen sir, what is your thought on that?
You have to keep your existing systems on, and entire services has to be kept on. all regulatory assignments which are whether in terms of development, whether in terms of XYZ, will keep on happening. Parallelly, then you have to also do your entire harmonization of the products, and then the plan for the migration, and it gives a more complexity once your other the source system is on different platform. Now to bring that platform, as Bank of Baroda GM was mentioning, that now they are migrating Vijaya Bank to Finacle 10. So once they will migrate to Finacle 10, and then the harmonization will start, and then the merger will start. So it is really a challenging task from the IT perspective, and it is a most important job which it's common and known to everybody, but on the sake of the reputation, is goes for the UAT. See how many test cases you are able to prepare and how robust your UAT is. That is going to change the game on amalgamation. How smooth that amalgamation is depend how much strong you are on UAT front. How many test cases your team is able to emphasize on the amalgamation. So that is the key factor from which I feel that in the amalgamation is going to play a bigger role in UAT. That's what I presume from the, and one point on the your education or the awareness to the staff, how much you are able to really handhold in this kind of pandemic situation where you were planning to have a physical training, and then all of a sudden it has been changed. Now the entire team is being trained on virtual. So this is what which we are doing right now. That is something which in the month of March nobody has emphasized that okay, from now onwards we will not meet and we will be meeting only electronically. So that kind of scenario change has happened. It is helping. It is helping in multiple ways. That as the person member from the Dell, they are mentioning the working hours has is now no limitation actually. So when it starts and when it ends, we don't know. So that kind of support is there. That kind of support is there. So anytime we are able to do. In fact, nowadays when lighter discussions are there, when the teams are discussing, and now you have to also participate. So on the move also you are doing that exercise. So it is giving you a lot of flexibility in terms of attending the job. So that kind of support is there.
Fantastic. Mr. Satyanarayana, you were talking to me when we had this conversation. You were talking to me about, how the security systems were different in your other banks like Dena Bank and Vijaya Bank, and how it is different in Bank of Baroda. So how have you managed to make sure that all these things come seamless at the same time? All this work is happening in the background below, and above everything is still calm and experiential to the people. How was your experience there?
Like Pravinji just now shared, the migration is a challenging work. I shared with you that even in Bank of Baroda itself, when we migrated from Finacle 7 to Finacle 10, we had a lot of issues. In some of the, I to do the audit function there, information technology audit function. In some of the very critical corporate accounts also, interest failures happened, such kind of things happened. Interest was not booked, interest was not debited to the account, lot of issues. So we had to do the concurrent audit of data center and all, we had to mitigate those risks. So actually, I add one sentence further to what Pravinji telling, but there are frameworks like Mallikarjun Rao is from security and all. He also concurs with me. There are migration frameworks. If the bank follows it, the migration frameworks, whatever ISACA has had a migration framework, IT migration frameworks. So instead of Chartered Accountants of India, they are having a framework when migration, what has to be done. There are some cardinal principles were defined. The bank has to follow the cardinal principles, and usually in public sector banks, we appoint auditors like big four auditors for this migration audit and all, they also find their observations and they also find their observations, and they also make us whether we are ready at what level, what we have to do and all. So when if we follow like what uh, our Sharmaji told, besides the UAT cases, what is the migration fundamentals, and migration fundamentals to what extent we are adhering to them, and what are the risks they identify, how we mitigate them, how proactive we are. That helps us for a smoother migration. We have experimented with one bank only. The other bank is kept aside. Vijaya is having a bigger balance sheet, so Vijaya Bank is being merged into Finacle 10. And Mallikarjun Rao shared that switch migration is also happening. So the networks, ATM networks and all are going to integrate. And we are facing really challenges. And we are met with this COVID also, this separation. But Amol really told a lot of things. The purpose of Team A, Team B, Team C, that is the business continuity. Usually they are there, but they are contacting means the business continuity policy guidelines will be broken actually, and we can learn from global organizations also. I want to share with you one of the experience when the 9/11 happens. 9/11 in US happens. One of the, I think Morgan Stanley operates from 9/11 the towers, and also from New Jersey. And Morgan Stanley operated from their New Jersey office when their original office was gutted completely in 2 hours time. Completely. That's what the business continuity is there. That's what Amol also shared, that Team A, Team B, continuing the work, the core work, whatever pandemic happens. So like what you said also, this is a lot of learning to the nation, lot of learning to the public sector banks. But our only this one is, this history we have to keep somewhere, and we have to keep it for years. Whatever happens, whatever audit observation comes, I don't know, my IT colleagues, they will mitigate the observation and they should not forget it. That should be kept as a learning for future.
What is your take on when all this amalgamation is happening? How can it be made a little more seamless and much more effortless?
Oh, so 3-4 points which Praveen mentioned, Amol mentioned, as well as the entire panel mentioned. In terms of, first is the people, process, and technology. Obviously, that's the proven way of doing it. How do we manage people, process, and technology? So, as I mentioned, Dell EMC merger happened 4 years back. The HR system started migrating after 1.5, 2 years, and it is this year, in the 4th year, that we are now seeing that the quoting system, everything has merged. So it takes time, but it's about how you get people involved into it, and how do you manage your front end applications, and these are the things which has helped us. And other thing is, if you look at it, two things happened, correct? Amalgamation and pandemic. So the few things which helped us in terms of, we had digitalized most of our applications. So I just wanted to hear from you in terms of, are you looking at those things as mentioned by Praveen in terms of integrating in Finacle, moving from 7 to 10? I also wanted to understand, yes, system of records is something which is happening at the back end, but what happens to the system of engagement and the channels which he mentioned? What happens to those channels facing, I mean, customers? If you look at it, most of the transactions which are happening are, digital. If you look at the records, UPI has done something which is the highest number of transactions which have happened in July. So how are you addressing that also when you're doing this amalgamation? So the front end piece, for example, UBI, three banks coming together, the front end app, or how are you thinking on those lines, and integrating all those things together? I just wanted to hear from you. For us, it has integrated seamlessly. Now there is only Dell, there is no EMC. Everything has merged into one single portal. The quotation things, everything has merged into one seamless single view for us. So I just wanted to hear from you in terms of how you are also thinking on those lines to the customer. I'm saying in terms of engagement, the channels. How are you integrating those channels together?
Yes, Mr. Mallikarjun, any thoughts from your side? How that?
Yeah, I fully concur with you. The same thing is happening because it is slowly educating the customer that now we if you log into this, these three banks are there. These three banks are merged, and the same thing is happening in physically also at individual branch level also. In on social media also, on website also, you see two banks names: Canara Bank, Syndicate. A little bit on the lower end, Canara Bank bold, and at the bottom Syndicate in a small letters. Then on buildings, then on social media education also is going on, and to each branch a lot of videos educating. And then coming to the transactions, though the systems are different, the SMS that the customer receives is the same. Even if he does a transaction in Syndicate Bank, he gets that he has done a transaction at Canara Bank. That's all. This is actually from front end, from customer's point of view, there is no issue at all, because for him, he feels that he has got the transaction done from Canara Bank only. Now he feels that this no longer Syndicate Bank is existing, that is merged into Canara Bank. Slowly it is going on, and it will take some more time. Yes, as you said, Babu, it is the same thing everywhere. Slowly educating, slowly learning, and doing on a sample basis and test basis. Some branches and 50 branches taking 50 branches, and a lot of learnings are there, a lot of hiccups are there. So again, as history, recording history is very, very important, because once you come out with all the solutions, resolutions, and once it is matured, you can in a big way, like as I said, in core banking in 2000s, we did the same thing, sampling. Then once it is matured, we have implemented on a large scale. So this amalgamation also is going to go like that.
So, so one more
Great.
thing I just wanted to ask everybody on the panel. Since most of the transactions have moved digital, have you also looked at cloud as a perspective in terms of public, private? I just wanted to hear from you in terms of what is your perspective.
Yeah. So what I was mentioning, see, cloud. Now it is. If anybody is thinking not to go into the cloud, it may not be right. So everybody is in the cloud now, whether it's on premises or maybe in the public cloud. So as a bank, we have gone to the on-prem cloud. So we are already having a setup, and some expansions are already planned. So yes, that is in place. And without cloud, you cannot go for an announcement and overnight infrastructure to be added. It is not possible. So that's definitely. But if you see the UPI transaction or mobile banking transaction, it's a huge increase. And to if you have to plan it out in that fashion, the infrastructure. So other than cloud, it is physically adding the servers and all. It is very challenging. So the cloud setup, it's good that we have planned somewhere around in 2016 or 2017 in the beginning, and which is revealing the results now. So in this kind of situation, it helps.
Absolutely. Any
Yeah.
comment from you, Amol? I think you have been an innovations guy, and always, most of the time, cloud has been always hot with the innovators. So, what is
Yeah.
your perspective?
See the cloud thing. It has the usage of cloud has actually amplified, and I would say thanks to the pandemic, the adoption is going to go up. I mean, now it is nearly impossible not to think about the cloud at all. Okay, so what traditionally has happened is that the data centers and the setups that we have put up for banks, they have been fairly rigid. I mean, you have only one way of accessing it and one way of getting data out of it. But when the pandemic started, there had to be more than one ways of making people work, enabling them. And this is where, rather than opening up the data centers, everyone started experimenting with clouds. At least we have started doing it in a bigger way. And the other part also is that there was always a scare related to use of cloud, that is my data secure or not. But this pandemic has helped erase that particular worry also, because people have found that it helps you a lot. I mean, as long as you put your controls in place and there is no bad news, obviously, you tend to believe that everything has been done correctly, and people have started to appreciate it a lot. So the investments which were done over the last 2-3 years, which was thought to be as a fad, has actually paid off in this last 6 months itself, where everyone started believing that yes, your investment in the cloud was right. And with the cloud coming up, it is also giving us, from an innovation perspective, it is also giving us the flexibility to create those certain zones which I can hive off to a particular fintech. Say that experiment here, let us look at the results, and if everything is fine, then let us decide whether you come into my data center or not. Correct. So this is one change which has happened over the last 6 months. And yeah, I mean, bottom line, can't think about not having a cloud strategy in these days at all, and going ahead also.
Prasanna is smiling. What are currently the banks in India today trying to digest, especially when it comes to integrating all these things into a single platform? Is there any talk about what is the future where you can hold all these technologies and seamless work with them? Amol, you have been in the center of innovation, so if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah. So, I mean, before I touch upon the AI ML RPA related piece, one part which I would like to highlight is that, see, this pandemic situation has brought in one very important change in the entire thought process as far as digitization is concerned. Okay. All along, whenever we created what we say a journey, or the way a customer interacts with the bank, it was always the customer front and center in terms of doing whatever you want, like reduce the number of clicks, reduce the number of pages that he has to iterate, give him the ease of experience, so on and so forth. As far as the pandemic and this entire work from home, what has started off, there is one very subtle change which has happened. We have also started creating processes so that a bank employee sitting anywhere can do the job in a very seamless fashion. So the screens that are used by the bank employee also, they have started becoming less cumbersome. I mean, at least in the design, you think that, okay, this fellow must be sitting at some remote place and he might not have access to the same kind of setup as what is there in office. So what is it that I can do from that aspect so that his work also is eased up? So this very small thought process change, it means your entire end-to-end journey. It is like from the customer to my central system, and from the central system to my bank employee who is working on it. This entire journey is now getting streamlined a lot, and this, I believe, is a true blue digitization that's happening in the bank process. I mean, the banking activities. Now since this technology will be used within the bank and will be leveraged by the banking employees, a lot of thought is now being given in terms of what new things can I bring in to ease my employee itself to work better. So it is not just about the platform. We are also looking at technologies like, can the employee transcribe? Like if he sees a particular loan agreement that's coming in, so rather than typing, if he can transcribe, is that an option that is available with him? So these are the things which are being looked at. So it is about bringing convenience to the employee also. So that is one very important aspect that has evolved over the last 3-4 months.
Excellent. Any other perspectives on this from any of the other partners? I mean, panelists who are here. Any other view to look at it? What is the road ahead for the future, especially when you're looking at all these things coming together? From the security perspective also, how can you basically secure this, all these new things that are coming together in a single platform?
I will add here 1 or 2 points. From a security perspective, actually what happens is, as of now, Security Operations Center is the amount of alerts on daily basis getting is humongous, and it is unmanageable. So unless we depend on this AI analytics and all, it is not difficult. These Security Operations Center technologies also, they are now redundant actually, to say, because when you look at security in a holistic manner, Security Operations Center takes care of a portion of it, a little. That percentage is coming down actually. The amount of reliability on Security Operations Center has come down drastically, and the existing technologies that are provided in Security Operations Center like SIEM and PIM and other things, they have actually, by and large, they have become redundant. So even OEMs also are coming out with now new technologies. They are using in a very big way this AI and analytics. The road ahead is they have to come out much more in a much more advanced way in providing that confidence to the customer that their products are going to help the organizations. From security perspective, this is the thing I want to make. And from operational branch banking and physical, whatever we talk about, because of this pandemic, we learned a lot, and now customers coming to the branch will be reduced in a long way. Because luckily for us, digitalization has taken place in a very long way. Mobile banking has taken the surge in mobile banking technology is a very welcome sign for responding to this pandemic. And going forward, I think whole lot of activities and banking services will be available. By now, lot of services are available on mobile banking. Going forward, I think almost all the services at the beck and call by pressing a button on the mobile, customer should get it. That is going to happen. Mobile is the way. Banking will be in the hand of the customer. So I feel that. Coming to the physical, it is a hybrid model. So we will use robots, RPA, whatever AIML, as well as employees. Employees' load will be reduced. They will take care of the customers in a more personalized way. That is also going to come. So it may take 5 to 10 years, but it is going to come. That is the road ahead.
Here I want to share two aspects.
Fantastic. Praveen sir, any interesting observations from your side?
See, Babu, on this this kind of setup, when we talk, future for banking is going to be more on from the technology driven, and whatever we talk in India is still the communication link is the weakest link. And unless we are able to really figure it out that, I see if you talk about the public sector banks, no, when we say we have no 15 crores of customer base, and your mobile banking or internet banking may be having 1 crore or so. So we can think of that the what kind of percentage really we have on the channels. And the basic reason why the people are not able to turn up to that area is the communication link is still that is the weakest link. And the second one is your the phone which is we claim that okay, text basis transactions can happen, but really that does not happen, and we need to do much more on the smartphones. The phone availability at the mass is still not there. So these two areas which I feel is going to be the critical in terms of increasing the digital transaction. Yes, there is an increase, but the kind of the kind of level which we are looking for an enhancement in the digital channel is not that much. And I feel that is because of these two reasons. One is your communication is still not that that good. See, when we started the pandemic, everybody started logging. Okay, humko, the classes will be online, the meetings will be online. But still, the communication, in our see what we are doing today, are is all the people who are in a various different workplace. Are we in position to really connect so beautifully? When this situation is there with us, and then when we think of the people like in Samastipur or deep Bihar or more rural, I would say Kozhikode and all, you will not be able to get connected to that place. So the communication is still is far where to achieve the kind of growth which we are expecting in the digital. That's what
I agree with
from
you.
my side.
What are the new areas where you are seeing a lot more? See, Open API is one of the things that banks are talking left, right, and center about. At least the private sector banks have all gone full-fledged into it. UPI is the biggest open API kind of stuff. What are the new other technologies you see immediately coming into the PSU banking, or which can be the immediate need of the hour for the PSU banks now?
I see. Immediately, I feel it's all known to many people. The latest technologies which are coming now, AI, ML, but that is not only the technology. That it more on the use cases, that now which area you want to use that. So you can introduce the technology, and if you are only asking from the technology introduction perspective, yes, AI, ML, banks are definitely looking forward. But what are the use cases which are there? So that the use cases are maybe different from banks to bank. And no, I feel one of the greatest area for AI, ML to be used is the fraud. So to control the frauds, you need, whether it's an early warning system or maybe the online transaction monitoring. AI, ML is going to play a larger role in terms of technology, wherein you can have a more secure transactions, and you are able to predict which area can be more focus which we need. And I think this is going to help you in whether it's a liability product or it's an asset side product, because the more and more the data, more and more the technology can help you to really understand which area you can focus on. So these areas, this is the technology which is going to be in the near future.
Fantastic. Amol, any thoughts from your side?
Yeah, so I totally agree to what Mr. Praveen had said, right? I mean, it is not the new technology per se, but it is the use case. If you go 2 years back, the same AI ML technology was being pushed for saying find out what the customer is going to do next, which was always called as the next best action, correct? And now that same AI technology is being pushed to find out more about frauds and when the person will become delinquent. Okay, so the AI ML technology remains the same, but now the change is from an NBA, the next best action, to an NPA. Now we are trying to find which person can become a fraud. So I mean, the technology stack is not going to change much. I mean, a lot of radical thing may not happen. I mean, according to me, it's not going to happen in the next 1 year or so. But it is the use case that has changed a lot, and the maturity of using these new technologies has increased over the past 2 years. So I see a shorter turnaround time as far as implementing and usage of this technology is concerned now.
So, what does it take to make sure that all your technology implementations or your projects are delivered much more faster with a lower turnaround time to match the needs of the market? How do you reduce this turnaround time between conceptualization of a project or a technology to that of delivering of that to the people?
See, it is all about acceptance. That is the first thing. So whenever something new comes up, there is always this jitter in terms of, is this what I really wanted, and will it really deliver to what I really want? So the same AI technology which came 2 years back, the acceptance levels was a little bit low. Like I remember the case where we had spent a lot of time training the chatbot to answer the questions which we want. There was always a worry, and there used to be those one-off examples which will be pulled out to say that, you know what, that particular bank's chatbot, it was asked about the so and so person and it gave some random answer. But now you don't have those same set of people asking the questions. So now the acceptance has increased. So as the acceptance increases, the maturity increases. I think that cuts down a lot of time in terms of going from a conceptual stage to a go live stage. This is where the biggest possible change has come. So second part here is that people are now opening up to the fact that everything doesn't happen within the bank's premises, doesn't happen within the bank's data centers. Now you can do a few things sitting remotely, and you can do it on the cloud. So these two changes have brought in a drastic reduction in the overall concept to implementation stage.
And finally, it comes to the experience also. On one side is the experience of the customer. Today is a hyper experience world. Everyone wants instant. Everyone wants things at the best possible experience. And everyone wants it at the hand. So from that perspective also, I think the technology infrastructure, foundation, etc., has to be agile enough to provide that kind of experience.
Exactly.
And I think that is where one thing is cloud. Is there anything else that also plays an important role other than the cloud in this, bettering the experience and agility?
From a migration perspective, I think while we talked about training the staff, communication, and also the testing related aspect, there is one more technology which enables having a seamless experience as far when the amalgamation happens, and that is the use of a enterprise service bus, because that is one layer which buffers the front end from the back end, and you can keep making changes to the back end while the front end continues to remain the same and the person gets a very seamless experience. I think, but then that's a tried and tested technology, always in place for the last few years. I just thought to bring it up as part of the merge and surge conversation. Yeah.
It definitely makes a lot of sense, especially when when people are trying with different such different ideas. And of course all the best consultants in the world are already working on most of the banks right now, be it Ernst and Young or be it Deloitte or be it Capgemini. All of them are working. So but at the same time, that business domain combined with this technology is the most important
Yes.
mix that has to come together to make it happen. Prasanna, any thoughts from your side on what is the future looking like from your lenses?
Uh, if you ask me, same things, right? AI, ML, it will be more to do with the customer experience and more to do with, as you mentioned, platform banking, converging everything onto one platform and giving those all kind of services through that single platform itself. And I see a lot of integration and amalgamation, not amalgamation, integration happening with fintech companies, because I see one of the statements which Uday Kotak mentioned, right? The next, I am worried not competing with other banks. I am worried with the next fintech company which is going to come up, or the next payment bank which is going to come up. So these are the
Okay.
things, yeah. So these are the things which are happening, which you will see keep on happening, and government will open up a whole lot of things. You see WhatsApp also coming in. So these are the things we should look out for. Ultimately, it is about the customer experience and ease of doing banking. So it is not only about normal transactions. It is whole lot of the things which you can offer to the customer. At the same
Fantastic.
time, doing it in a secured way.
Great. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Ultimately, any responsive innovation has to be responsible and it has to be secure as well.
Right.
This is the most important thing. Mr. Mallikarjun Rao, would you like to add anything to sum up this conversation?
Yeah, I was actually partially involved in this because I am having a that beside some conversation is going on in office. Whatever I understood that whatever Amol has said, that is the way. Migration also we are struggling, but it will happen. It will happen in every bank. Coming to the innovations, as I said, mobile banking, because it is seamless and it is very handy. Whatever technologies will come there only. And AI and ML, as they said, yes, it is use cases only. Even security also, it is use cases only. It is not technology. How it will be useful for the bank, that is the main thing. So gradually it may be implemented. Little bit AI and ML and RPA is already there in PSUs, very little. But going forward, something will be there. Some friction is there, both in terms of AI and ML as well as cloud also. Cloud is like a flight journey, that we are scared of turbulence, even though it is safer than the automobile journey. Automobile, we feel that it is good. So though the probability of accidents is more. So we are in that phase. That phase will go. As of now also, unknowingly or knowingly, we are part of the cloud also, because our partners are maybe their infrastructure is in cloud. Some of our data is lying there in cloud also, knowingly or unknowingly. And every data is going through CDNs also. It is coming before coming to our networks. So all these things are there. Even though you agree or not, these innovations, cloud, AI, ML, they are going to the place. Whatever is available, that we have to implement. That's all. It is basically technology and vendor driven. So vendors come out with some business cases. If it is feasible, we implement. That's all.
Interesting. Interesting. So that was a good perspective. Mr. Satyanarayana, what about you?
Further to this, I want to add a center of excellence with IBM as a partner created in Bank of Baroda. Some innovations are going on. They created one digital lending platform wherein contactless lending is happening in a little way. The customer will be scanned from the databases and all. Automatically, he'll be given a credit limit without any this one. It is purely contactless lending. In a small way, it's happening in the bank. It's similar to the 59 minutes online lending. In fact, you may be aware, Akhil Handa is one of the key persons helped government of India, or he is involved in the 59 minutes online lending process, MSME lending of government of India. Like my other friends, they suggested, Praveen sir suggested that fraud risk is a key risk happening. We know the 10,000 crores fraud happened in Punjab National Bank. It's a very strong bank, could withstand that. And also we had similar incident with Cosmos Bank, where a virtual switch was created by the overseas fellows, and this kind of things happened. So AI should be used in fraud risk. Not only fraud risk, I am having earlier an experience in Bank of Baroda in offsite surveillance and all. Loan losses will also happen. The financial system won't recognize all the interests. I used to sit in the data center and offsite surveillance, and I used to find through data warehouse and all where interest values and all happened. I used to detect the revenue leakages and to book the interest to the bank. So AI could be used not only in fraud risk, revenue losses, any kind of a non-recognition of the revenue to the organization or asset portfolio, that can be AI can be used. And the Axis Bank, I heard machine learning they are using on a large scale, where account opening will automatically happen with a scanned copy. Whatever we will input the data into the system, their Axis Bank, somebody told me while traveling from Hyderabad to Mumbai in a train, he told the scanned copy automatically it will be converted into, and it will go to the Finacle. Then after verifying it, means data entry is not required. So these kind of innovations are taking place. But like Mallikarjun Rao and all told, it more on Prasanna, Amol, more on used cases, and customer should not be forgotten. The core, and State Bank is the leader in recognizing the customer needs. So State Bank, I want to share with Amol, State Bank of India, Hyderabad Circle is the first person unhappy. When CGM started one mobile number, if you are unhappy, just give an SMS. Unhappy, none will come to you. State Bank is long back, 10 years back, State Bank. And in this amalgamation also, State Bank is always, they go in an innovative way. They have gone for a VRS, because those who are not in sync with the amalgamation and all, they can go a peaceful go away from the bank. Even other public sector banks or government of India can think of a, State Bank of India came out with a VRS to their associate bank employees, senior colleagues, 55 years. So a VRS can also be thought of, and a long way, but we are midway through. It's not easy as anybody chases. And like customer, you are the customer. You know what is this one. Still we are having A, B, C. So you have to choose among them. The seamless way of happened in State Bank of India. For all other public sector banks, including our bank, 1 year old still, it may be another 1 year. It may take for a seamless.
Manoj, any closing remark from your side? You have been an observer today.
Yes, I've been an active. Am I audible? Yeah, I've been an active observer. Been a very interesting discussion. I think the most important message that I can take from this discussion is that while there are lots and lots of best practices, that any consultant or advisor can give. I think there's a lot of intelligence within each organization to create a solution that meets its needs. Someone has cultural challenges, someone has technological challenges, someone has VRS challenges, someone has that. So no, I don't think anyone has mentioned in this that we found this great consultant who gave us this great solution, and at least in that area, our problem was solved.
So great, gentlemen. I think we have had a wonderful conversation. Thank you very much for this. Hope we have been fruitful today. Thank you very much and look forward to more such sessions in the future.